and then I will send you the recording probably within 24 hours, depending how fast I can get it uploaded, so you can go back and check it. But yeah. So what got you interested in coaching?
Well, so I play Overwatch for my college.
Mm-hmm.
I go to Cal State Fullerton. We have a Overwatch team.
Mm-hmm.
First, I just did it kind of like for fun because I figured, hey, why not? I'll give it a shot. I was
Yeah.
silver, and they let me on the team just because they had no
Ha.
tank players because this was Overwatch 1 and nobody wanted to play that role. So I got on JV, and then
Nice.
I the manager of the team, Jazz, he had a friend who like coached his team back in Open Division, Monolith.
Uh-huh.
So he would coach us every now and again, probably like 3 or 4 times. And I was like, "Wow, this is sick." And like I can like he would like tell me things of like, "Dexter, here's what I need you to do. Walk forward." He looked at me and said, "Don't be a bitch. Take that space." And so I started doing that, and I went from silver to gold to like high gold. And Overwatch 2 came around. I kind of hovered gold again for a while. And I do recognize that the form was like 2.5 months ago. In that time, I've hit diamond on tank,
Holy
and I've hit
crap.
plat in my other roles.
Jeez. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. So you're
because
now
basically,
officially good at the game, like percentage wise. That's sick.
yeah, I'm out of low elo, baby.
Nice, nice. Welcome to the shinies.
Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's great to be here. Now I'm going for the new gold. I'm going for the masters next.
Oh boy. Okay.
hmm
All right. All right. All right.
Also, I've role swapped a lot because, like, for example, with this semester, uh, we had another tank player who he was mechanically better, but I was still better than him because I had like the team experience, so like I knew how to
Yep.
call, and I like so we ended up giving him the tank role because logic being it's easier to teach people how to call than it is to like make them better at being a tank,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
better at being the game. So I ended up flexing over to DPS because we didn't have enough DPS players, but we had two
Okay.
tank players. My manager was like, "Hey, are you fine with playing DPS?" I was like, "Fuck it, we ball." Wait, am I allowed to curse?
You're all right.
Oh yeah. Screw it, we ball. And so that was purgatory for a while, but I eventually, after slamming my head against a brick wall and then just realizing I can just play May and just play off tank basically. Finally got that up to plat, and now it's looking like who knows, maybe I'll need to play main support next semester. So like I truly don't know what I'm gonna be doing next semester because I'm in it for the community, for the friends. So
Oh
long as
yeah.
I play, I'm happy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the code I gave you was a tank code just because I've been grinding a new
Sure.
Junkerqueen because I realized I haven't played the game in over a week because we had this big conference at my school that I'm on the event planning team for.
Ah, nice.
So I was not able to play the game for literally like a week and a half.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
So
Well, yeah, I mean that's just like the collegiate experience, right? It's like playing roll
mm,
swap, playing Ring Around the Rosie, like musical chairs. I mean, it happens, and I think that's like the fact that you've been kind of demanded to swap around depending on the team's needs probably speaks highly of your ability to flex and fill and communicate and lead and learn things quickly as well. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. For the average player looking to like quickly get to Grandmaster, it would be a problem, but for you, it's like nah. Like your goals are a lot more dynamic than that, so I wouldn't sweat it. So first
yeah,
off,
I know
congrats
ranks
on the
have
diamond,
perks.
though. By the way,
Oh, thank you. Yeah, yeah.
sorry, what were you saying?
I said, like I know like rank isn't actually a true indicator of your skill. Like I remember back when I was like high gold, we were in a scrim and I just dumpstered the crap out of a top 500 tank player back when I was tank because
Jeez.
I knew how to combat than they did or something. So
Yeah, team
I
play is
get it.
like a
Yeah,
big deal. Yeah, team play
yeah.
is a big deal.
It's
Yeah,
a whole different ball game. Yeah.
I mean, I was watching the Boston Uprising Vancouver Titans game this past week, the Overwatch
hmm
League game, and it's like it's crazy how like these Boston Uprising players are like so mechanically skilled, and just somehow they couldn't put it together. They couldn't get it.
Oh yeah, they got 3-0'd, right?
Yeah, they got 3-0'd, and it was like you look at like these individual pop off moments from all of them, but then they just lost, and it was like that was super interesting to me. So okay, especially for somebody who's scrimming actively like you know that's huge. Okay, let's look at this form here. So obviously it's been a while since the form has been filled out. So
Yeah.
whatever has shifted and changed, you just let me know.
Okay.
Whenever we go to
Yeah.
session, I hope the session will set a strong foundation I can build skills upon later in my career as well. Well, that's obviously probably not really changed considering how much you
Yeah. No,
swapped
definitely
around. Okay, let's keep looking here. What do you hope to sleep looks good. Love the 7 to 9. I need my sleep, you say. Welcome to the club.
Yes.
Um,
People who
but
like stay up and like I can stay up late, but I have to sleep late too. Like I
Yeah,
can't do the whole like
same.
go to bed at 2, wake up at 6 a.m.
No
I can't do
way,
that.
no way. I'm like, especially with the work that I do, I have to be like, hey, talking and communicating and creative, and I'm like, I'm like, I'm awash if I don't get my
Bro, I'm
sleep.
a comm major. I feel that stuff.
Okay. Long-term and short-term goals in Overwatch here. Short-term is to hit Diamond. Nice! So I can queue in
Yeah.
most of my teammates, whoever are on Masters. Long-term, I want to have the confidence and ability to consider myself equal to my teammates and those who are better than me. So I don't know like what your teammates are at right now, but obviously you've taken a lot of steps closer to that. So where are you at in terms of SR and like where you want your SR to be?
Right now I'm happy because I've gotten all my ranks back into plat. Because now I've gotten to the point where I consider myself like a quote unquote plat player, just in terms of general
Yeah,
baseline
yeah, yeah,
skill,
yeah, yeah.
rank, and all that.
Right.
So now I want to start bumping that up to diamond, maybe hit masters. I think I'm still technically like the lowest ranked person on my team.
Uh-huh.
There's one who's like I think plat 1 right now, but the fact that I've hit diamond still made me feel better because we have a few GMs, we have a few masters players, so it's just
Got it.
it was tough when like people would want to play comp afterward, like after a scrim or something. We had a little thing we do a one and done of regardless of win or lose, we play one game of comp and then that's it. We all just get off. It was a fun little tradition we had. But for a while, they couldn't do it with me because I was like gold and they were all like
Oh no.
diamond masters plus.
Oh
So I
no.
had to be like go on without me. But
Okay, well, I'm
yeah,
glad that's changed. So it's something like at least more consistently diamond with whatever role you're playing, maybe even masters as like a goal to get to. Okay.
definitely. Yeah.
All right. And then I'd ask hero pool, but yeah. Okay. Have you heard me talk about dynamic hero pools? I don't know if you've seen any of my videos before. Have you heard me talk about dynamic
I
hero
watched
pools?
most of them, but yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you're familiar with it.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so then that's going to be like the key to success for you because you're going to be swapping your hero role like every 3-4 weeks, month, who knows. So basically the idea is that like whatever environment that you're in, whether it's a temporary tank, temporary main support, temporary DPS, apply yourself in that environment efficiently, right? So like I don't care if you're swapping roles every week, but this week you're going to focus on the heroes that you need to play within that role and try and avoid wasting time outside of that. Right.
Yeah.
And then if you have to hard pivot to playing a Lucio one trick a month and a half from now, I want you playing Lucio an hour and a half, 2 hours a day. You know what I'm saying? And, get that as much as you can. So as long as you're familiar with that, and then you're good to go. So training time right now. How much do you guys scrim? How much rank do you play? Do you warm up? What's the deal with that?
Well, since our season's over because we did collegiate, but we didn't
Right.
move on past base round robin.
Yeah, yeah.
We haven't really scrimmed, I think, at all since then.
Right.
It's been
What
a
is it
hot. Well,
usually, I guess?
usually we try to get 1 to 2 a week
Okay, 1, 2.
because like we're very much like we're a club and not like an actual esports program or something.
Right.
So it's really like a for fun kind of thing.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, we try and we'll usually scrim at least once a week. We'll try and gun for 2 if we can.
Okay, makes sense, makes sense. And then what about for your ranked play?
For my rank play, I try to like whenever I have free time, I try and knock out at least a 2-hour session or something.
Perfect, perfect. How often does that free time happen?
It's pretty frequent, if not every day, like every other day. Like I would say on average throughout the week, I probably get 7 days a week. I want to say 16 to 18 hours a week.
Okay, yeah, we can definitely live with that, especially when scrims start up. You're gonna have, I think, plenty of time to get to it. At the very least, comfortably diamond, right? As long as you're able to apply that dynamic hero pool thing, right? Where it's like the first hour and a half, 2 hours every day. If you're gonna play rank, you're focusing on just the heroes that you need to practice for your team, or just the heroes that you selfishly want to improve at, right?
Right.
So like
Right
right
now,
now,
it's Junkerqueen.
okay, so right now it's Junkerqueen. So make it 4 or 5 games of Junkerqueen about every single day that you possibly can. And then obviously while you're playing, you have specific goals and things that you want to practice while you're in game, and then you're good to go. Okay. Yeah,
So I have a question about that.
yeah, please.
So in that case, like with what you're saying of like try and just focus on the hero you want. Uh where does that apply in terms of like map pools, for example? Because like if
Yeah.
I'm trying to one trick Reinhardt and I get Circuit Royale 14 times in a row, I'm not gonna want to play Reinhardt.
No, I hear you. I hear you,
something.
but you need to try and push yourself a little bit in that direction. And the reason why I say that is even if you go into scrims and you're not going to be playing Reinhardt and Circuit Royale, right?
Right.
But what Circuit Royale does is it forces you to kind of play dynamically and experiment a little bit more. And I think that's an important experience that a lot of players need to kind of learn to do. Now, what I'm saying is you don't have to force Reinhardt every time you play Circuit, but you should at least 25, 30, 40% of the time. Because,
at least try, yeah.
Because it's going to force you to adjust and figure out things and clean up your game. Let's put it this way. If you were trying to like time your sprint, see how fast you can run. Sometimes you're going to sprint with no weight. Sometimes you're going to sprint with resisted sprints. And what resisted sprints allow you to do is, even though you're running slower, it's like forcing you to clean up your technique. It's getting you to feel like this. It's forcing your muscles to work harder, your central nervous system to work harder. So then when you take the weight vest off, you're like, oh, geez, like I got something out of that. So what I'm saying is that playing Junkerqueen and Circuit Royale might help you learn Junkerqueen on Oasis. You know what I'm saying? Or Junkerqueen and Ilios. Because you'll be like, all right, I have to be so disciplined with my cover. Like, it's going to force you to be really disciplined with your cover, which is going to serve you elsewhere. Or I have to be super creative with my pathing or my timing, right? So I would say do it unless you're really just miserable, you know, and then you might need to kind of scale back. Like, don't push yourself too far, because then at that point, if you're miserable, then you're not learning anything anyway. So what's the point?
Yeah, that's how I was with DPS for a little while.
Right. But you do need to try to push yourself at least a little bit outside your comfort zone with that, because being like, oh, this map you can't play fill in the blank hero. Half the time you're just totally wrong, and half the time, even if you're right, like, well, okay, you know, grow up. You know, you at some point need to push yourself a little bit. Right. Goals we already talked about. Sleep is good. What do you feel is holding you back from improving? And again, you got to let me know where this changed. Mechanics and the occasional tank player brain rot. That's funny. Yeah. I call it where sometimes I forget I don't have 450 plus health.
Yeah, a big thing that also, like, as I play tank, that I've recognized, like, looking back at some of my past games and thinking, oh my god, like, oh, why aren't my healers healing me or whatever? It's because I'm, like, standing, like, in the middle of a choke point, like, walking through, which is something that's been really helpful with Junkerqueen, because since I don't have a shield, because, like, my two favorite things to play overall is, like, Ramatra and Reinhardt, I'd say, and also Monkey. So I'm, like, in Overwatch 1, I was very much a main tank player. And so, like, I'm not as used to just not having, like, a button I can push or just, like, have a shield constantly, like, Zarya bubbles. So, like, I've grinded out, like, 5, 6 games of Junkerqueen last night because I realized I didn't have any codes for you.
At least it'll be fresh in your memory then, I guess.
Yeah, this game was,
like, oh, crap.
Yes. I was like, oh, shoot. I submit a big school assignment today, and I was like, got that down. Went, oh crap! Spilo needs cliffs.
That's right. You gotta get your priorities straight. Spilo over school.
Yeah. You're right. Who needs double major?
Seriously.
So, I've noticed I need to be more disciplined with my cover, and like play walls a bit better, and also like use my ears more. Like there was this one game. I think it might actually been this game in Umbani. I ended up playing like 2 or 3 of them because matchmaking. Where they were coming up the left high ground, and I was up there, but I was looking down to see if they were coming from below, because they tried to come up high last time and it didn't really work. Yeah. And I had Rampage, and I didn't see it, but I heard Kiriko use Bell, and so I immediately saw there was like 3 people there, and just ulted straight at them.
Yeah, see, there you go.
So like, it sounds stupid to say, I've honed my other senses due to my lack of ability to just stand there with a shield.
Blindfold.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I mean, I think it's good. It's like, especially for somebody like you with the circumstance that you're in with your college, like, you're kind of needing more like intangible, big picture stuff anyway, because who knows what you're going to be playing. That's good, right? Like that's a good skill to have, because that's obviously not Junkerqueen specific. So paying attention to stuff like that is good. Okay, anything else that's holding you back there? Because you said, I get forced to use more cover because of Queen. I've been working on some of the other stuff. Is there anything that right now you feel is like, at least let's say with Queen, that has been an issue with you?
One that used to be a much bigger issue is I would always miss my knives, but then they buffed her knife size. I still miss a few.
Blizzard devs, and you're good to go. That's all you have to do, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was so funny. My friend Pancakes, who's the tank player of our varsity team, he saw it and I was like, oh my god, Dexter, look, they gave you a buff. So because it was tragic how many knives I'd missed. I went from missing like probably 85% of my knives to now missing probably 40% of my knives. So I still miss a fair few, but I've gotten a lot better.
It might be a confidence thing too, where they're a little bit easier to hit, but now it's like you hit a few, you're like, dang, I'm the greatest in your life, like that extra level of confidence with them. So who knows?
And like having that level of understanding of like trying to like keep my bleed procced as much as possible because that was something that I wasn't really thinking about as like a major part of her
Right.
kit.
Right.
Like, do you play lots of like any like league or anything?
No, sadly. Well, actually, you
Okay.
know what? No, not sadly. I think I've dodged a bullet there. My
Yeah.
my mental health is very good, so I'm gonna keep it that way.
Yeah, because like there's some characters that have like things that you want to keep procced at all times, like from
Right.
hitting things constantly or whatever, and that's like a major part of their kit. And I just wasn't thinking of the wound in that same way. I was like, okay, knife, carnage, whatever. But no, it's like, knife, leave it there for a few seconds, like get that going, carnage what you can, use your shout, and like I'm trying to like cycle things more, like
Yes.
the cooldowns
Yes.
instead of just burst everything at once and then you have
Well,
nothing.
with the 2 times heal thing, stuff even like melee is like actually worth doing now because you actually get
Oh yeah,
a
I
little
melee
bit
so
extra
much
healing.
more now.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Is there anything you wanted to like take a specific look at in your gameplay, or is it overall just gonna see what we see?
I do just kind of want to see what we see. Like I know that I still definitely suffer from a tank brain rot of just
Huh.
like I still need to work on playing corners and cover a lot better. I've gotten so much better at it
Of
from
course.
like last season, but it's still probably like the weakest point of my gameplay because I mean like
Right.
mechanics are mechanics. You can practice those
Right. Right.
just like through mileage. But in
Of
terms of like,
course.
cerebral concepts to be applied to my Overwatch, I would say, probably, like, utilizing cover is one of my bigger ones, and then also, like, keeping in mind where my other support like, where my team is, because sometimes they'll be like, "Oh my god, it's a huge whatever," and I go, and I don't realize that my team is 2 corners behind me because 'cause I've
Right.
taken so much
Right.
space, but they're all
Right.
on cart.
Right, right, right. So it sounds like at least like there's a few things, but you're at least aware of them. So maybe not so much as there'll be some teaching, I'm sure, but also just like, hey, coaching, hey, remember this is what we got to work on. And
Yeah.
ultimately, at the end of the session, if it's stuff that you're familiar with, but just need to be reminded, or at least have a second opinion of, yeah, this needs to be worked at more, then there you
Mhm.
go. Okay. Any questions or anything else you want to go over before we just go right into gameplay?
Uh, I don't think so, because I mean, like, outside of maybe, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I had like a big mental reckoning and it was like, "Oh, okay, like, cool. I'm actually like, okay, I don't need to worry about not being the best player. Like, I'm me. I add my own value to the team and all that." Because a
Right.
big thing was I felt really bad 'cause, like my rank was low and I just had like really bad mental, not of like, oh, like trolling and throwing and stuff, but just like feeling like I'm shit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, like, I've gotten much better at that, but it still does rear its ugly head sometimes. It was like not thinking I'm good enough because, like, oh, I'm the lowest ranked team. I'm the
Yeah.
lowest ranked member of the team, or like, oh, they could easily replace me. Like, you don't need me. I should sit out
Right.
because other people are better. But then I realized, well, these are my friends. If like they're not gonna stop being friends with me just
Of
because
course.
I'm not playing on the team anymore.
Of course. Of
And even
course.
then, if I want to keep playing that bad, get better, bro. So
Right, exactly. Like you need to find the line between like what motivates you, whether it's social stuff or whatever, and then also just being thankful and being happy with where you're at. Like
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with not being grandmaster. You've got other things that you're better at than they are, and that's just kind of like where you find your personal expression. So if you want to improve at the game, improve at the game, but do so because you want to, not because you feel like you have to. Right.
right.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
guess if I were to give like an arbitrary goal of like what rank level, whatever I want to be at, I want to be at the level where I can fill for somebody's scrim and they won't feel like this guy's trash. Where'd we get him from? You know what
Right.
I mean?
Right.
Like
No, I know
that kind
exactly
of
what you
yeah.
mean. Yeah. Exactly. I know
Like
exactly.
I think that's kind of like what I'm going for. Of like good solid player can fit into a team, play everything at like a reasonable level. I don't need to be super ML7
Yeah.
proper whatever. I just want to be like good. I want to be truly competent at the game that I will never be a hindrance on my team.
Right, right, exactly. Yeah, no, that makes total sense to me. Makes total
Mhm.
sense to me. Okay, you want to get into the gameplay?
Let's get it. I'm excited.
All right, let's do this here. Let's get this one. Okay. All right, Junkerqueen on Numbani. You are a brave, brave person. This is going to be. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like she's a strong hero. You want to practice it. It's exactly what we talked about with the Circuit Royale, right? This
Right.
is where you limit test. And obviously, in third point, I think she's great. So, okay,
Yeah.
let's take a look here.
And if I recall, I think this is like gold to low plat-ish. I think either this. I think my next game after this was my rank up game. So
Okay. I mean, if she fortifies that late, you can win the Bromir. You know, I don't know what she's doing. Not your greatest matchup in the history of the universe, but if she's just gonna troll like this, then yeah. Hit.
So many.
No, go ahead.
I played so many games today against Reinhardt who just like pinned in and then just died immediately. It was weird. There was like 4 or 5 of them in the span of today.
It's weird. A lot of heroes like Ramatra, Junkerqueen, Reinhardt all kind of feel, and Orisa too, all feel similar, like short range brawl tank niches. So it's going to be like which one of you guys plays the matchup better, right? Does he hit the pin? Does the Ramatra get a good shield, good E spam, right? Do you hit your Carnage consistently? Do you get some good shot damage in, right? So the matchup, for example, versus the Orisa, how do you win that matchup versus the Orisa? You tell me.
I think, well, if she fortifies early, it's just kind of like outlast the fortify with your own sustain and stuff. And I mean, like, if she walks all the way in like that, like, if I was paying more attention, I probably could have just like ran up to her Mercy and rolled the Mercy.
Yeah, exactly. Right. You can bypass the Mercy. Because remember, one of the things that Orisa doesn't have as much, she does have a little bit, but not as much as you, is the shout benefit, which is not just the HP, it's the speed, right? That allows you to kind of pick your targets a little bit more. And in things like, you know, like when she doesn't have Fortify, I think that you win that HP trade a little bit better than she does. In terms of like just shooting each other. Obviously Carnage is big if you can make sure that you don't hit it into the javelin spin and so on. But yeah, okay. It's a lot of mechanics. I want to see this. Oh my gosh. Wait.
Ladies. I mean, it got hacked, but yeah.
That is something else.
Oh, and I was playing with Genji.
Okay.
Yeah. Genji is the pancakes I was talking to earlier.
Waffles AMA, love it. Nice knife. So, this is like a really dangerous move here. Now, I know why you do it, and I'm not even going to say that the risk wasn't worth it because you stuck the knife in the Mercy, right? It's probably worth it. However, you have to consider, like, look at where you are, look at where your Kiriko and Genji are, and even worse, look where your Ana is.
Yeah, like that's what I was talking about earlier. Of like, I'm not keeping in mind where my supports are.
Right. But the thing is like you got to be thinking about that like pre-fight. You should already know like where the line is, right? That's the term that I always use. It's like where is the line? The line for you guys is like right, literally. There's a line right here, right? Yeah, or it's like right here. If anybody crosses here, or it's like right here, or it's like right here, or it's like right here, right? That's kind of like what you need to be thinking about. Where can I attack and hold space? Or the rest of my team can do something. Because the problem here is like, oh, so it's miserable, right? Because your Ana's not able to help. Right. And the irony is that by the time your Ana's able to help, that's actually how you win this fight. Because look at what happens. You finally bait her in just a little bit further, and then check out this nade, right? Holy mackerel. And that's what happens.
Right.
That looked a little hairy. A micro here, again versus the Orisa. Disaster. That spin. Getting your Carnage eaten by a spin is a really big deal. Be very careful.
I'll be honest, up until today, because I didn't really play a whole lot of Junkerqueen, I enjoyed her, but she was never like super good.
Yeah.
I didn't actually know that spin blocked Carnage.
Well, now you know.
Yeah. So I learned that a lot today. I thought, okay, good to know.
Yeah. Same thing with your knife too. So I think that's just something that you're gonna have to remember because it's like it's more on the Orisa to use the javelin spin and fortify and less on you to use your cooldowns, because if you guys are playing cover well and you just shoot her, you generally win that HP trade. Unless she lands like a really fat javelin into a wall. So it's you're kind of just like existence is gonna force her to use one of those cooldowns, and then you can kind of reactively use the others. But if she catches one of your cooldowns with her fortify or javelin spin, it kind of sucks. Especially the Carnage with javelin spin, because it doesn't even like, oh, I hit it into fortify, it's okay. You hit it into nothing, right? And so that's going to affect the cooldown as well. So this is the moment of truth here, because you got one of two options.
Okay.
One is you dominate the tank in the tank trade.
Yeah.
What's the other one?
Force their backline to like not like put pressure on the backline so the tank can't get healed and trust my team to kill him.
Now, which one do you think is going to be better here? Look at the situation right here. By the time you drop, what's more of value here? Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think the answer here is very clear. So don't feel like you have to make the right answer. Just give me what your gut says, and then give me your reasoning.
Okay, well, first thing I see here is Orissa's purple and hacked, but also gold right now. So I feel like to an extent that kind of cancels it out. So like if everybody looked at Orisa and burst her down, it would work.
Sure.
But I know hack won't last very long and she's gonna get unpurpled. So my thought process is going to be try focus the support or at least zone them off and just trust my team to kill Orisa.
And then maybe if that Orisa stays purpled in this low end point, you see the fortified expire, you're like, I'm gonna quickly drop shout, just axe or kill her really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best choice. It's gonna take a little bit of game sense and patience to execute, but I think it's okay. Now you go for the drop and assassinate tank because you see her purple. So then, how are you going to execute this play optimally?
Okay, so optimally speaking, I'll want to position myself like between the Orisa and the supports so that she doesn't get healed as much, and maybe I take a bit of damage, but it's better than Orisa getting healed. And then just burn down the Orisa and
how do you do that?
my team to. Let's see. That would be
hitting the knife.
Well, yeah, hitting the knife. Only miss 40% of the time now, baby. Okay, I guess I'm not doing that. Oh, she got nanoed.
She got nanoed. So now what's the play?
New objective: survive.
Definitely wouldn't be focusing her anymore, though.
Yeah, I should be looking at it. Okay, well, she's purple.
She is purple. That's true. That's true. Now, it's funny, though, because your hindsight turned out to be the accurate one, because the wrist took a lot of heat, fortified, and then got nanoed. So maybe sitting on that high would have been better. I think it also depends on the backline, too, right? If there's an on the backline, that's obviously a little bit of a problem. Now, the nice thing is that the sleep dart only lasts 3 seconds, too. So that's something that's beneficial. Okay. Was this the bell you heard?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Oh, my goodness
that was
gracious.
perfect. Okay, I was like, why? I heard bell, but we weren't taking any
gracious. Get it. Oh, you should have axed.
I distinctly remember yelling yeehaw as I did this. I seen I was yelling, yeah!
Besides that, that was tight. Nice. There's your juicer. Got 5K right there. Now, okay, so let's keep thinking mechanics, though, right? Like matchup. How do you play versus Ryan? What's your advantage over Reinhardt?
I can out sustain Ryan for sure because I can carnage through him. Like he does, his one like defensive ability is a shield, which doesn't really matter for me for my like sustain and stuff.
Sure.
But I think he out damages me, so I need to.
Let's put it this way. I'm gonna interrupt you. If you guys stand at point blank range and swing at each other, whether it's with carnage, hammer, shooting, he will kill you.
Yeah, for sure.
He will kill you. So you need to do what I would say, soften him up. So how do you do that?
Let me see. I have better poke than he does, even though my gun isn't fantastic at a range, but it's certainly better than his hammer.
Oh yeah.
So like poke him out with some shots first, maybe get a knife in him, and then once he gets to a lower threshold, especially my Genji's low right now, but if I do see like a prime dive opportunity, just like shout in and just run him down. Yeah, it's a lot like Ramatra, where like Ramatra versus Reinhardt, I think this is a little bit of a surprise to most people, but Ramatra does not beat Reinhardt in a raw nemesis versus Reinhardt 1v1. He has, but if he gets a little bit of an advantage over Reinhardt, it's over for the Rhine. And I think the same thing goes with the Junkerqueen as well. So you just put a couple of shots on him, maybe bust his shield down a little bit, take 50 of his armor, 80 of his armor off, and then you hit the carnage.
you hit your shots, you hit your melees, right? And then you're going to have an advantage there. If you have your shout, obviously that's necessary too. But yeah, I think like what you're doing here in terms of positioning is correct, right? Like you're not on top of him. You got a little bit of distance. You're going to shoot in that backline. It doesn't necessarily have to even necessarily be on him either, right? You can shoot the backline, disrupt the backline, trade the backline, right? So that he doesn't get healing. And then that's how you indirectly win the tank trade. So obviously it doesn't really matter here. But I wanted to think, if in theory the tank trade had mattered more there, how would you have approached it, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I think softening him up, for lack of a better term, is pretty good. Now,
this I was kind of throwing. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I agree. I was kind of trolling.
Just let him go to point. Let him run under. Just go back to high ground and just spam him. Because again, like the high ground here provides you. Because him avoiding you makes sense. Like because he's had a bad opportunity. Like he goes, oh man, we just got crushed there. I don't want to do that again. But then now him going to point is just going to allow you to sit and spam him a little bit, then drop and kill him, right? So it's like.
And if nothing else, I should not have shouted that.
Yeah, exactly. And then now you're in trouble because you're down your shot, you're down HP, he's not down, so you can't do this here. Like I'm very concerned here. Did you somehow hit the Genji? What happens here? Oh, you hit the Genji? Oh my gosh, like that's wild. That Genji got one shot. Okay, so you got very fortunate there, but like you could see that was what do the kids say? Sussy Baka.
It was questionable.
Yeah. Okay.
Overly zealous.
Uh-oh. So Nano, reasonable. Obviously not being able to stop the res there is a little bit annoying.
Yeah, I recognized she was resing too late, and by that time she.
That's all right. I don't know that you would have been able to stop it either, to be honest with you, but would have been worth considering. Okay, let's take a look here. Oh, we got another one going on here. This is perfect, right?
Yeah.
Look at that Ryan's HP. Look at the poke that you've been able to put out. It's obviously not been you as much here, but it's been your team. But then now that's exactly the advantage that you look. I mean, a lot of that is, it's the same thing with Ramatra and Junkerqueen. You soften them up, you look for an opportunity to push. You soften them up, you look for an opportunity to push. And there's your opportunity to push. I will say that you have a bad habit of going for these and not immediately carnaging. Like I look at this is a 3-man carnage.
Okay. Oh yeah, okay, I see what you mean.
3-man carnage. And the other thing as well is, to my knowledge, that you can start building up your bleed to your next ultimate as soon as you use your ult. So if you look at your ult charge, you see it's already at 1%. If you carnage this, you're already at like 8 or 9% under your 10%.
Oh, so it's like mine. More. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, on your next ultimate. And it also makes sure that you finish them faster too. So this needs to be carnage immediately right here.
Okay.
And I saw that in your other one as well. I think it's worth pointing out here.
Okay, gotcha. Right, I was gonna ask, like, because you had said carnage sooner. I was like, what do you mean? All right,
yeah.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, finish it off.
Wait, yeah, I did just see a clip. The clip of Super on Twitter of like of carnage of rampaging and then like building another one up in like 5 seconds.
Yep. Well, it's really important that you do that, not just for that, but it's also it's your highest DPS output skill. So
yeah, makes sense.
Use it ASAP, because you're gonna get you hit people with it, you get it back faster.
Yeah.
Don't let it set on cooldown. Now, I don't know if you guys are going to use Kiriko Ultimate here. And I know you're not exactly like ult tracking, ult planning. This isn't scrims here. But I don't love this.
Okay.
Because this is not what we talked about in terms of like meeting the Reinhardt toe-to-toe. Are you going to be able to get an advantage from where you're at before you beat this Reinhardt? Right.
Definitely not.
Probably not. Now, maybe if you hit like a 3 or 4-man carnage, like if they all group up and walk out of this choke, you'll do fine, because you'll hit so many people and do so much damage. But I don't like this. Like, I think like if your team wants to hold close, that's fine. But I might even be playing a little bit further back. Just like make him chase you a little bit.
Okay.
You know, I think
like play closer to like the first corner or something.
Right. Or even just play really disciplined on the corner here, to where like the Reinhardt has to walk out into the open to come after you. Right.
Swing. Gotcha.
Right. So even if you play closer, it's a very disciplined closer, because this is too easy for Reinhardt to turn the corner, take 0 damage, and start swinging on you or fire striking you. Case in point, right? That you're already down 100 HP. Right.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel good.
He has armor, and I only have health. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So I actually, in case in point, right? Like he. Oh wait.
Come on.
Oh my gosh, you did it. What a hero.
We still lose, so I have to pull out.
I mean, yeah, of course, but you can actually get out here if you shout. Run, run, run. Surely. Don't stagger. Oh, okay. All right. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of case in point because you guys both had Kiriko, but then Ryan just got on top of you immediately. And he also had Shatter. You're cooked. You know, you're like, even if
also,
you.
Ryan probably does better in Kitsune Rush than I do. Well, especially for stuff like that.
I don't know, actually. Yeah, maybe. It's hard for me. Because, like, if you hit people with Carnage, you get it back, like, literally, like, off cooldown.
That's true.
But I honestly don't know. This is a case in point of, like, okay, there's no DPS to shoot. There's no off angle to shoot. You can't dive backline, so win the tank trade. Ana gets a huge sleep dart here. You know that based off of this, that you're going to be able to push and brawl with this Reinhardt. Why? Because what is this going to allow you to do?
This is going to allow me to chunk him out of Farabig, get my bleed going, and also I'm going to build Rampage off of this.
Exactly. So now all of a sudden you're not scared to go toe-to-toe with this Reinhardt because you have an advantage right now. You can hit your knife, you're going to get your Carnage, you can hit a shot, yeah.
Quick question. Can you see where my supports are?
Mm-hmm.
I just realized I don't actually know where they are at this point, so I just... Okay, yeah, they're back there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now, I will say that's a good point. We haven't really had that issue before, but now that the fights are kind of moving around dynamically, you know, might be a problem.
Because I do know, like, for this point, and I think also third, we kind of just, like, C9 twice.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, which is why I definitely wanted to... I should have Carnage that. If I'm going to get up there, I should Carnage, not melee. Especially if I'm going to waste my shot, I need to get more value.
More damage, more bleed, right? Put that Reinhardt more in the back foot. Yeah, 100%.
Oh, that would have been so good. I'm throwing.
It would have been a two-man Carnage at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, two-man Carnage right there. And don't forget, obviously, the active hitbox as well, where you can kind of like whip it. But two-man at least, maybe the Mercy as well. There it is. That's a good one. But yeah, that Reinhardt basically that off of that sleep dart has never like reset. He was just constantly on the back foot. If he had done a better job hiding behind cover, he probably could have reset it, but he's not able to. You were so thirsty for that Suzu. I don't even know if she's used it yet. Or wait, I'm looking at the wrong. I'm an idiot.
Really trying to force out the Suzu as much as possible, because like I realized by now she learned her lesson, because like the first couple times she used Suzu, she just kind of ripped it, and I immediately ulted afterward.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. Shift in, shift in, shift in. By the way, if you see somebody on your team going in aggressive like this, I don't care if it's a Tracer in backline or not. Like usually you're the tank, right? In other words, you're going in, creating space, causing chaos.
Okay.
What if you got a Solemn on the backline, Tracer in the backline, Genji blowing into the blade, right? This is your cue.
Gotcha. Okay,
this is your cue.
Pull their attention and make their supports like need to worry about multiple things at a time.
Right, because your Genji's letting you kill the Reinhardt now is what he's doing.
Yeah.
And you're not killing the Reinhardt.
Okay.
You have shout.
This is a stupid question. My shift is the shout, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. No. That's fine. That's fine. I'm just making assumptions here, so that's my bad. But yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I'm left-handed, so so instead of WASD, I use PL semicolon apostrophe.
Wait, really? Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
Yeah. So, and then I also realized when binding my controls, by accident, my shift is my E and my E is my shift. So if I want to shout, I hit the O key, and if I want to Carnage, I hit my right shift.
Okay.
And like my ultimate is left bracket. Yeah, it's.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, wait for it. Wait for it. Carnage, I beg. No!
I'm melee.
You would have literally lived to beat Carnage. You probably would have lived. That's disastrous. It's such a goofy thing to mess up because most Junkerqueens are like the opposite. I'm like, yo, bro, that Carnage was not hitting. Stop pressing that button. You're like, nah, this is challenge mode. I'm like one of those unranked GMs. Unranked GM, shout knife only, you know.
Bro, think he boger.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, this one I think we just kind of get rolled. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, this is like where like a little bit of ult tracking will serve you. I think Junkerqueen is one of those heroes where like whether it's Suzu tracking, Shadow tracking, you know, it helps a little bit.
I've definitely gotten better at like the one thing that I can just like subconsciously track well is Reinhardt because I used to basically be a Ryan one trick. Like back in the day, back when I was playing nothing but quick play, but I can still like figure out What's up?
When you were young and foolish.
Yeah, back when I was young and foolish.
Yes.
It's like that's the one thing where like you just like I just got like the spider sense of like Ryan has shatter, he's gonna use it, and
Yeah.
then usually
Yep.
5 seconds of me saying that he uses it.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I don't get shattered,
But at least
but
you feel smart, you know.
yeah.
Okay. By the way, what's the mistake here?
I should be backing out entirely here.
Well, yes, but also you're trying to. That axe should have been like 6 years ago. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like,
Yeah.
even if it forces an ice block, it's a longer cooldown, right? So, like, and then you get her off your butt. And then you could just get, if you force ice block, then you could just chuck knife in her and ruin her day and, like, just totally wreck her. But this is, like, this is not good. You just got 1v1 by May pressing M1 from basically full HP. Definitely a bit of a tragedy. So, what are you seeing so far? Do you want to look at more Queen, or do you want to look at some of your other tanks as well?
Oh, yeah, we can look through the whole thing for sure.
Okay.
So,
well, how much more Queen do we have? Because how much do you want to do? Finish the Queen out, or do you want to look at some of the other tanks now?
I don't think I play Queen again. I think I go to D.Va after this, and I think I might go Ram. No, I think I stay D.Va.
Maybe we just look at this one fight with Queen then, because it looks like you have a little bit here.
Okay.
I mean, he's completely breaking the line. Remember we talked about that? Like, he's pushing N. Even though he hits the pin, which you need to be careful about, he's cooked. Get it? Oh, that's unfortunate. That's okay. Okay, that's going to be a cap. Let's see what happens again. I want to see softening up, right? Soften him up, soften him up. That shout's a little bit
Yeah,
sus.
I shot by accident there.
Oh, okay. Fat finger happens. Shoot. Yep. Now he's softened up. Now you can take the Rhine trade. Now.
Carnage, you dumbass!
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. So here, Shout was probably fine, but Carnage, yes. It has to be Carnage. It feels like you only Carnage when you pull people in.
Yeah, that is a habit I've developed of like it. It's kind of like the muscle memory of like a
combo
hook of like of like the combo. Like that's always the thing I think of.
Mm-hmm. But when the Carnage is right there, you don't need to pull them in. you know. Right,
but they are already on top of my ass. I don't really need to.
Right. You notice, by the way, that you felt pretty cozy versus the Reinhardt here, just because it feels like he's never really recovered from that first Bastion thing, right? He's constantly low HP, so you've been able to outbrawl him. I mean, that's the thing. If Reinhardts aren't disciplined, aren't able to hit Shatter, aren't able to hit Pin, aren't able to hide from your poke, then you're going to win the brawl trade. But you will play versus Reinhardts that do a better job versus that, and you're going to need to be paying very, very close attention to that. Get that Carnage out. Okay, so now we would just wait, hide. That stupid turret almost just like straight up 1v6. Nice. Let's keep going. Now, even though you've gotten the poke that you've wanted, you have to be really careful now, because you don't necessarily win this brawl. I know you're like thinking like, but oh yes. Even the one hit there, even the 2 hits there is totally fine. All right, I'm looking for it. Okay, wait. They flippity flop. The Brig is on the flank. Nice. Nice shout as well. Nice knife. Torb is dead. Finish the Rhine. Carnage the boy. Oh, no, you're just a little slow. It doesn't matter. Okay. So, Queen, let's just wrap this up super fast before we move on to the other stuff. What are the skills that you need to practice a little bit with Queen?
I definitely need to just use my don't think of Carnage just as like a combo tool, but just use it more often. Yeah, because it gets the
on it with ults and general pressure. I mean, there are definitely times where you might want to save it and you don't want to just use it off of cooldown, but I think that you're a little bit too far on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Okay.
What else?
I also need to consider, like, especially with something like Reinhardt, which is inevitably like more beefy than me. I need to I said like butter him up, soften him up a bit.
Yeah.
because I can't like take him in a straight 1v1, but if I, poke him out a bit with my superior range and like it's easier for me to do.
Yeah, of course. Think about it like from a Sigma perspective, right? If you're playing versus Queen versus Sigma, it's the opposite. He's
Right.
not the guy trying to soften you up, right? Now, if you're able to get on top of him with full resources, it doesn't even matter if he lands the rock. He's cooked,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But if he's able to spam you out a little bit for some resources, get you half, then he hits the rock while you're trying to get close.
And it's dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
problem. Yeah. Okay. Any questions?
Let me think. I don't really think it is weird though, because like I was watching my friend play Junkerqueen last night. He's in bronze. I do remember telling him, "He's like, yo, dog, you should use your Carnage."
Well, there you go. That's going to stick in your mind.
Yeah.
Then I threw in one more point in there, even though it wasn't as much of an issue, but I think it is a really important thing. So, okay, let's. You want to look at Winston or D.Va?
Yeah, sure. I think I actually swapped to D.Va.
Okay. Well, we can look
quick,
at a
so I
little bit.
recognize-
We still got about 15 minutes, so we can
Yeah, okay.
see
He's
what
like,
we got
okay,
here.
like, I didn't realize that the TP was to the right high ground.
Now, Winston is like a little different than Queen because for Winston, your job is really never ever to trade with tank, almost ever.
Right, yeah.
Because you just don't ever have you can't soften up a Reinhardt as Winston, right?
Right.
So now it's just go. And even if you're playing a little bit of ring around the rosy like you were with the supports here, everything that you've done is fine. The only problem has been is you've just been too slow to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like this fight goes on way too long before you actually contribute to it. Right now, it's like you lose yourself, you don't find the squishy. By the time you jump on the squishy, by the way, nice job not using bubble. That's awesome.
Thank you.
This one even here, like, go. I think you're trying to charge up a right click, but the right click should be launched as you're landing, right, for the burst damage. Right. Not right click and then jump. Bubble there is fine. You juke the Ryan charge, and then here we're a little slow to stop the Mercy as well. So it feels like this fight is like legitimately like millimeters from being won, right? We're too slow on quickly locking onto the squishies.
Yeah, that is one of the things that Mono had told me about. Like, is like your ideas are usually good, you just take too long to execute on them.
And that's okay. It might be that just because you don't have enough reps on the tanks that you're playing, so that like you're just a little bit slow kind of thinking through the process. Like when I play a tank, I know how to play every tank in the game to a top 500 Overwatch League level. But I can't play them at Overwatch League level. So trying to get my ideas into actual execution is the problem for me, right?
Okay.
It might be the same for you. You might have a bigger brain than your skill allows, especially because you're swapping so many heroes, right? So a lot of your autopilot mechanics aren't there yet, right? Okay, D.Va swap is fine. Let's see what we do. Because D.Va, honestly, this is a little bit of a hot take. It's the same thing as Winston. It's the same thing as Winston, but there is less of a likelihood that you get a kill, but also less of a likelihood that you will get killed, if that makes any sense.
Makes sense.
And
more survivable, more armor, DM, all that.
Right. More frequent mobility as well.
More control mobility.
And I think that there's fewer terrible matchups for you, right? Bastion is obviously the big one that probably is why you swapped. But yeah, okay. That being said, that means what you're doing now is not the play, because even though this Reinhardt has way overextended, your team is still probably not going to be able to get through this choke with you quote unquote frontlining here. Now they might, but I mean when the guy misses a D.Va with a pen, so I don't even know. But you can see that this feels really rough. Now the irony here is that, do you know who's actually creating more space than you are right now? Check it.
Oh yeah. I told him, it's like, you try and force point.
Your Sim and Genji are like doing all sorts of foolishness, right? If you break this choke, it's going to be through your DPS actually tanking, not you.
Right.
And I mean, this feels awful, right? This feels awful. Like, he trolls the lobby, but like your DPS deadlift this one, honestly. So then, what would you have done differently here? Okay.
I think. Let me see. So once I realized that we're like going into Reinhardt and all that, I think I'm like trying to like play frontline tank too. I'm trying to main tank as D.Va.
Yeah.
And just like stand there, and sure, it's like I'm gonna survive and I can get out good damage, I guess. But I'm not like really doing anything.
Right, and your supports have to heal you so much, right? Like it's just
Right.
basically just a stalemate, but the Reinhardt just keeps holding the choke, right?
Right. So maybe it would be better if I like went like instead of coming up here, going to like the top right high ground,
Sure,
like at least pressure them
sure.
out there, and
Look
then
from
especially if
here,
he's going
soft
from below.
dive, right? Then
Mhm.
drop, you know, sneak out from
Maybe I'll get
underneath.
those full resources. Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of think like again, think about like a dive tank, right? Like you're a
Mhm.
diver. You dive on squishies. Now you should try to avoid dying for it. You should hopefully play around cover and play around mega, and maybe your supports come on main and help you out too. But don't let's put it this way. Don't trade with a Reinhardt that has heal support.
Yeah.
Unless he's literally 1 HP.
Right.
And you can see even then from there, like the reason you were able to break the choke was because your Symmetra and Genji cut off their lifeblood, right? They split their attention, split their focus, cut off the supports and all that kind of thing. And this is going to be easier now because you're going to have a lot more space to play around in terms of high grounds. Oh dear.
Yeah, I recognize the second two leg that I got walled.
Yeah.
I was walking back,
But even then,
that.
look at what you were doing before you got walled, right?
Yeah.
Doing the exact thing that we want to avoid.
Yeah, I'm way too in there. I'm pro planning.
Okay, close the bomb. That's going to allow you to do more of what we were talking about, right? So for here, how do you break this choke, right? How do you break it? What do you do?
Here I think I just turn and kill Reinhardt since he got walled off by his own team, and then we have numbers and can mess him up.
Sure, but assuming
and
that
then
he
if I'm
doesn't mess
lucky,
up.
he ults. But yeah.
Assuming that he doesn't mess up, how would you take this space?
Uh,
Dive tank, right? How do you do it?
yeah. Let's see. What's the best thing to dive here? Probably like I want probably force out ice block on May, or like because like May and Bastion are like two of the more survivable DPS.
Well,
So
that's the thing. You're not playing necessarily to get kills. You're playing to threaten kills. To
Yeah,
go,
okay.
hey, I'm in your face, boogie, 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 right? I might kill you if you don't pay attention, right?
Yeah.
So if you fly in here to Bastion and just all Matrix, all damage to Bastion, just stay here, you're probably going to die. And you'll have bomb, but it's not that. So what about this? Think about it this way. Fly at the Bastion, but fly through the Bastion to here and boogie, 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 shoot him. Do you see what's the difference about this position? Do you die here?
Probably not.
No, you have cover, you have mega health pack, you have some hiding ground, and then what do you think this May is going to do?
Hopefully turn around and help her Bastion.
Kiriko, Mercy, turn around. But how
cover
long are you going to survive back here or playing around here and then maybe you fly up to high ground? Or how long are you going to survive there versus flying under the Bastion?
A lot longer.
Many, many, many times longer. Like as opposed like 5 seconds, 4 seconds tops versus 10, 12, 15 seconds, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you're playing for. Meanwhile, Reinhardt's like, guys, where's my healing? As he dies slowly, right? That's what you can do. That's where your mobility, your matrix, your cover usage, because your mobility is what allows you to get over here safely and quickly. Now, compare that. Now, would the Bastion die? Not likely. But the Bastion also is not likely to die when you fly on top of him anyway. So, might as well play more for your uptime as a dive tank than playing for the lethality or the kill potential.
Okay.
You see the difference there?
Yeah, like that is something that I've like tried to work on, is the idea of like, making sure that I get more like not just playing all ins, like can I force out resources and stuff like that.
Right. It's very similar to the Junkerqueen softening them up, but you're instead of thinking about softening up the tank in front of you, think about softening up the backline behind. You know that you're not going to get a kill because Bastion Turd Form and May Ice Block and Suzu and all, but you can force those resources, survive, and then either finish the kills yourself later on or let your DPS finish them on later. Because you can see even now, like this is a good eat, like, oh, congratulations, but it was a total accident. And you see how ugly this feels. The Rhine was literally walled off by his own team, and this still has felt rough for you, right?
Yeah.
Good use of cover though. Bomb is probably fine as well. Yep, it's going to force a nice resource split. Bomb's not always going to get kills, but it's going to force enough of a resource. They turn on the Rhine because he's isolated. There you go. D.Va's good at killing pretty much anything, even tanks. But the problem is she's not the best at killing tanks. There are other targets that are even better, so why not go for those? And the other thing too is we had to be super creative and cute last fight because you were stuck in the choke. You are not stuffed in the choke. You know where the squishies are going to be. Invest your time right now. Get healed. Think about setting up for them.
I probably want to be on high ground.
Right. Now, would you be on high ground over here?
Not yet, at least until I have a...
Not yet.
Yeah.
Right? But at some point, maybe you can like fly up here, get a little bit of healing, and then flank around behind here, right? And then set up, right? Because then you don't even have to use your boosters at all. You're already there, right? The differences between Winston and D.Va are pretty clear, but they're also very similar at the same time. Like right now, you're just a waste of space, honestly.
Yeah.
Good try in the eats. Keep your eyes on that. Like right now, go get that far. Fly up top here. Shoot at that far, right? Matrix missiles her out. Make her go backwards to help your team. And then you could turn your attention to Bastion, and then you could turn attention to Kiriko, and then, oh, I'm getting shot, I'm going to hide behind cover, get some healing, and go back again, right? But we are all in on that Reinhardt.
Yep.
Your team gets shattered.
I do not know how I did not get shattered there, because I was correct, I thought.
I don't know either, actually. I'm completely lost. I think you just narrowly avoided a hitbox. I don't know. That's just so weird. But you see, you were taking so much damage and just trading on tanks. And this is what I would call, and I'm going to say this as respectfully as I can, this is like the Plat D.Va thing, where you trade frontline, you trade frontline, you trade frontline. You always lose, but sometimes the enemy tank feeds harder because D.Va is very hard to die with, and or you just farm a bomb slowly and get a kill with bomb, because in lower to mid ranks, bomb is like way too powerful. But yeah, this is, you just feel that this just felt terrible, right? It's just, the squishies have been totally free. The DPS has been free. The Ryan just feels like he's pinning you or should have shattered you and so on. But let's look at a little bit more. I don't want to hammer at this too much longer, but okay. Let's actually, you know what? Here's what we'll do. I would like to go to a different point to talk about how you'd set it up. Okay, so this is a great example here. Okay, so we cap second. Great job. Let's think about what would we do on third, because it's a little bit flatter, right? So we got to be more creative. Nice. Good, get rid of him. Nice Matrix. Okay, now the moment of truth, right? So we're technically, I think, even. Yeah, Mercy's in spawn. So what do you think?
I should probably go high ground up here.
Okay, what if the Reaper's there?
If I can boop him off, that's great.
Maybe.
But if not, then I think I probably have to drop and fall back, because I think
Reaper
will still probably beat me in a 1v1.
Now here's the other thing too. Watch this. You shoot the Reinhardt from here. What do you think?
Okay. Yeah, I see that. Make him choose between where he puts his shield up at, because he's like out in the open. He has no immediate cover unless he like walks back and like kind of uses the stairs.
He does no damage at range either. Literally no damage besides fire strike, right? So even though you don't do much damage, you force him to do something about it. And why is being here when you're shooting Ryan shield important? Because you can't. This is bad. This is not bad.
Right. But also from here, I would also be able to see the Reaper and go, Reaper's coming from the top ropes. I wonder if he has a Death Blossom. And so I could be like, alarm's blaring, and then eat it. And then I'm also out of Bastion LOS.
You see? When you're here, you don't win the spam trade.
Right.
You get melted. When you're here, you win the spam trade because Bastion can't see you.
Yeah.
Right? So this is where you'd be quote unquote softening him up. Then you could focus on the Reaper. Then like, let's say to get to here, then maybe you're thinking about, oh, I'm going to flank around behind and threaten that Kiriko, shoot that Kiriko, force her TP. And I don't even have to use boosters to do this, right? And then I can fly out, take a different angle, and so on. Because you got to be careful about what you're doing right now, right? Because Bastion will melt you. And then now the Reinhardt's on top of you. Not case in point, right? Yeah. Avoid the Ryan. If he gets on top of you, full resources. Instead, fly out, control the Reaper, fly away, go around on a flank, something like that. You're giving him value by what you're doing, and I think that's something that we need to avoid. So,
yeah. I mean, I think I shouldn't have bombed there. If anything, I should have kept it because I might have been able to kill the Reinhardt.
I think so too. I think he was a little bit overextended, but yeah. Okay, so D.Va. Skills that we need to practice. We can also put the Winston one as well, but I think that one is pretty simple. But what do you need to practice at with D.Va?
Just like how can I use the space around me, like how I can pressure from high ground, like thinking about more of the map than just wherever the team directly is, think of where the team isn't, and how I can use space to get to them, I guess.
Take good 1v1s, right? Take good
Yep.
V1s, not a Reinhardt in point blank range.
Yep.
You know, and then even when you do dive, think about maximizing uptime without just instantly dying, because the stressed test is you going in and diving squishies over and over and over and over and over again. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Overall, better than what you're doing now, but not quite my tempo, right?
Right.
So you would instead think about what you dive a squishy, but what's the intention?
Gotcha. So is it, am I going like, that Mercy's all by herself, I can kill her, or is
Right.
it like the one with the Bastion of, let me see if I can pull their attention over
Yes.
here, not
Yes.
try to kill something, but just be a pain in the ass, just be a big
Right.
thick tracer, basically.
Exactly. Because you might kill somebody, but then you also have to be thinking about, like, instead, I don't want to trade death for death. You know, I'm thinking that I probably won't, so I'm just going to be as much of a distraction and disruptance, and I'm going to win the tank trade by cutting off every resource that Reinhardt has. And you're built for that. That's what D.Va is better at than literally any other tank. Winston is better at actually killing people than you are, but he doesn't have the uptime that you have. And he doesn't have the uptime that you have, and that's something that you can leverage. Okay.
I'm a bit more dynamic with the things I can do.
Exactly. Okay. Do you have any questions?
I don't. Well, one question I do have, because something I've been trying to focus on, because I know that my mechanics aren't, fantastic, as I'm sure you saw.
They're
Missing.
okay, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, they're not. They're not the strong part about me. I like to think that the thing that I'm much smarter than I am mechanically good, but also sometimes I play like a freaking idiot. So like, how would you recommend like honing the brain?
Give me an example of exactly what you're looking for here, because I understand what you're saying, but in terms of Overwatch.
Yeah, just like you're kind of talking with Winston of like that quicker reaction time of recognizing, okay, what do I need to be doing here? And like instead of standing there shooting the Reinhardt directly in front of me, like having like think faster on the I can go high ground here and do this.
Well, honestly, okay, this is a cop-out answer, but it's 100% true. You need skill.
Yeah.
And the only way to get skill is to practice the hero while knowing what you're supposed to be practicing here, right?
Okay.
Like, think about this. With your Junkerqueen, you were saying that, I was coaching somebody to use their Carnage more. But then we look at your own gameplay and you're not doing exactly what you were trying to get other people to do. And if you saw my gameplay, you'd see the exact same kind of crap, right? I lack skill, you lack skill. The way that we both would get skill is to take the things that we already know and practice them until they are actually skill.
Okay.
So these are why when I look at your text Discord, like this is how you get skill. You pick one of those things with Junkerqueen, with D.Va or whatever, and then you grind them and you practice them, and then you're thinking about like diving as D.Va and like playing her on cover or making sure that you're using your Carnage properly as Junkerqueen. That's how you actually transition what you know into what you can do. Not watching more videos, but playing the game with those ideas in mind.
Yeah, like I'll always remember there was one game of I was playing Blizzard Worlds. Oh yeah. When do you have to go? Because I know that we started like a few minutes.
I got a couple more minutes. I let the next person know I was running over, so I think we're okay for a couple more minutes.
All right. Because I'll never forget. Because it was a moment of like, like I understand like how space in this game works a bit more. We were on attacking Blizzard World Point A, and my friend Cassidy, she was playing Tracer. She's a really good Tracer. And so I was playing, I think, Ram, and they were playing maybe Ramatra or Orisa or something. And so I'm walking right with the supports, but I tell Cassie, go left, because I think their Ana's there, so I want you to try and kill her, or at least force her resources. And literally, I recognize, like, night and day of, wow, it's really hard for me to break through this. And then, whoa, that was super easy. And then I look in the kill feed because she killed both supports because they were both standing back there. And I was like, wow, okay.
Yep. You can sit and play patty cake with a Ramatra, but that's exactly what he wants you to do, right? That's his strength. What his strength is not is playing places he can't reach, right? Same thing goes with Ryan, to a lesser extent Junkerqueen, and so on. So it's like always finding like what's the strengths of this tank. And your challenge is going to be some of the strengths of Junkerqueen and D.Va are similar, some of them are not, right?
Right.
Where we're talking about softening up the main tank, focusing on the tank trade. Like even Junkerqueen, right? Well, it was the question of whether we should drop on that Orisa or go for backline, right? So even in the brawl tanks, going for the tank trade is not always the play. It's a lot more dynamic than that. But yeah. Any other questions?
I guess any other like standout issues or things where you look at and you go, try doing this to whatever. Like any like, do you have any any other comments or anything like that?
No, I think that we gave you enough things to work on one at a time. I mean, 5 points is 3, 2. That's pretty good. And then here's what I will offer. So you have a free replay review. So anytime you want to send me in a VOD or a code from either one of these heroes or even a different hero, like let's say you main tank, main support, DPS, I don't care, who knows where you're going to be. Send me the code, send me 4 or 5 timestamps, 4 or 5 fights from that code. Like, hey, the first fight, this fight, and then I'll give you some feedback as follow-up. So if let's say you were able to practice these things, or maybe you swap to an entirely different hero and you're like, I need some more feedback a week from now, 3 weeks from now, a month from now, whenever, send me that and that will give you I'll give you some extra stuff.
Yeah. I mean, this is great. I mean, I basically got free coaching out of this because at my job, I work at SoFi Stadium, and so I helped like push people around wheelchairs and stuff. And one of them was a basketball coach, and we ended up talking about like coaching and then like gaming and stuff. I said, oh yeah, like because I play collegiate, so it's like, oh yeah, do you do any sports? And I said, kind of. And so we were talking about like Overwatch coaching and how it's not necessarily, especially for like where I'm at, it's not like we have just an in-house coach all the time that goes with us, and like we kind of like have to go like outsource and find our own coaching stuff. And so when he tipped me, he was like, here's 35 for your coaching session. So I was like, damn,
that was nice.
What a nice guy. Yeah, so
that's super nice.
Great. Next time I get tipped again, you're gonna see me again because this was really really cool.
Cool. Well, I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it, and congratulations, like I said, on the diamond and all this stuff. There's a lot of great things about your gameplay, and I'm wish you luck with your collegiate stuff. But yeah, good luck. And like I said, if you don't forget the replay code review. If you do have any questions as well, you can send me a direct message. I won't always respond immediately. I get a lot of messages, but I will respond within a couple of days. So do not hesitate to message me anytime.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Mr. Smiler.
No problem.